Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you. So grateful you're here. Those of you in our audience and watching on TV or watching on DVD or listening on CD, thank you. I'm grateful you're here. Gives me an opportunity to share with you very valuable information. And today's lecture is especially important for many of our brothers and sisters suffering in the floods in Texas. And there'll be other people flooding in other areas as well for this hurricane heading towards Florida. The title of this lecture is The Best Way to Deal with the Trauma of the Floods in Houston and Other Areas in Texas. The best way to deal with trauma from the floods in Houston and other areas in Texas. I want to start out by affirming the enormous solidarity we feel with our brothers and sisters in Texas, and how honored we are that the way that the people are arising to help one another amidst the tremendous loss and the chaos. They're showing us what it is to be a human being, what it is to be an American, what it is to be a Texan. That's the good that's coming out of a terrible situation. Neighbor helping neighbor. So it's not just people who are paid to do this, the police, the first responders, Coast Guard. It's neighbor helping neighbor with every way that they can. They're showing us and leading the way in what it is to be an American, what it is to be a human being. So we have to thank our Texas brothers and sisters for what they're showing us. We're grateful to you because you're going to be watching this DVD. I want to thank you for what you're showing us, inspiring us with your heroism and basically showing us what honor is and creating a legacy by how you're dealing with this to help one another and inspiring us to be able to do the same thing. You're an inspiration to all of us. You've been suffering, with the tremendous floods, the destruction of your property, of your homes, of your valuables, the health hazards, the waters that are going, having sewage in it, where the stagnant water is, the mosquitoes and the disease that comes with it, the water shortages that have taken place, the hospitals that have closed down. These are all part of the catastrophe, absolute catastrophe. Of course, the deaths, the drowning, the people being destroyed by structures falling on them. This suffering is enormous, and particularly when it has to do with loss of loved ones, that can never be overcome. That loss is irreparable. The other wounds, people having wounds and walking through those waters and the infections that come into the wounds. It's just the lost property, the loss of income, the valuables in the home, all of those. When you look at the ramifications in terms of disease and the hospitals and the setbacks in education and a tremendous loss in business. Some people have their businesses annihilated. They can never recover from the lost cash flow that they're having. Never recover. So we're looking at this kind of devastating loss that you're going through. We know about this. We feel for you. We have that compassion for you. We can identify as a human to human what this is. So we feel for you as human beings. We feel for you as Americans. And we're certainly proud to know you from the way you're dealing with this. We're extremely grateful for what you're showing us, what it is to be a human being, what it is to be an American, bringing back that spirit that we so much crave to have. This is your legacy. The legacy enshrined within your deepest struggle. Enshrined within your deepest struggle is the seed of your nobility, your destiny, and your legacy. Enshrined within your deepest struggle is the seed of your nobility, your destiny, and your legacy. This is part of the Nerenberg legacy coaching model, the legacy therapy model. And I want to bring this to you to help you cope with what you're going through. I want to give you tools that are going to help you mentally, physically, spiritually. I want to give you part of a healing medicine for those of you who will follow the coaching system that I'm going to bring to you by certain thoughts I'm going to give you. Because I'm 76 years old. I've been in practice as a clinical psychologist for over 45 years. And based on my 45 years of research, and based on my empirical research of interviewing over 400 people on the effects of what I'm about to bring to you. I know that I can help transform your lives in a positive way for most of you, over 90% of you, from the material I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring you the culmination of my life's work because I care about you. There's nothing I want from you. It's something I want to do for you as a matter of my responsibility to you, as a matter of my living my own honor as a disciple of honor to bring this to you, regardless of what religion you are, regardless if you're a believer in God or an atheist, whatever race you are, absolutely doesn't matter. You're a human being like myself with the same concerns about life as I have and as everybody in our audience has. You have, and we know that about you, and I want to give this to you. I'm not on a raft over there. I don't have a boat to go over and do this for you, but I can give you this. I can give you the fruit of my 76 years of walking upon this earth and my 45 years as a clinical psychologist. I want to give that to you. So I don't want anything from you, nothing, other than for you to benefit what I'm going to give to you. And if you follow the teachings that I give you, I promise you, you're going to benefit and you will overcome whatever trauma you're going through. It'll minimize your trauma and add to you as a human being. You'll see that. Just to show you some of the application that I've achieved, that I've seen already with my patients and with myself, because I apply these teachings to myself first, but I've helped many others with it. I had a man who was called a roughneck. He was a man who worked in the oil fields, and certainly in Texas we know about the oil fields. We know what a roughneck is. He's out there in the fields, in the oil fields. And he came to see me, and he was just practically in tears, really. Big, powerful guy, all tatted up right to his neck. And he was teary-eyed. The tears weren't coming out, but I could see he was teary-eyed. And he said, "Doc, I've lost everything. Everything. My wife left me for another man." It's huge. His wife left him for another man. It's not like she died or destroyed in a flood. In a way, that's easier to take, really, when you look at it. She left him for another man. And he said, "I lost my children. She took kids. I don't even know where they are. She took my kids. I lost my children." That's huge. If you're separated in a flood from your children, you're panic-stricken, but many people have taken their children with them so they can get out of harm's way. Most of you did not lose your children. 99% of you did not lose your children. He lost his children. He didn't lose his house to a flood. He said, "I lost my house. I wasn't able to keep making the mortgage. I was pretty disabled, dysfunctional from the whole thing. I couldn't keep up my payments. I lost my house." So he didn't lose his house to a flood. He lost it to non-payment. He lost it because he was so stressed, a big, bulking, powerful guy. Was devastated by his wife leaving him for another man, taking his children. So many of you have a house to come back to. Many of you have a ruined house to come back to. This man had no house to come back to. Somebody else was going to have his house, not him. His house was intact. His furniture was all there, but it wasn't his. The house was no longer his. His children, well, he doesn't have his children. Lost his house. He lost his wife. I said to him, as a human being, I feel enormous compassion for you. I really do. I feel enormous compassion for you. As a psychologist, I understand the psychodynamics of your suffering. I've been doing this for 45 years. I totally understand what's happening with you from a psychological point of view. But what if I told you that there's a true story you can tell yourself about this worst problem that would add dignity, nobility, honor, and legacy to your life? Nobility, dignity, destiny, legacy. I could add honor to your life. And he said, "Dr. Nerenberg, I desperately need to hear that." I said, "Okay, it's this." I said, "Are you ready?" And I'm looking him right in the eyes. "Yes, I'm ready. I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. I've lost everything, but I have gained myself. And I saw that man's face, that powerful, tattered guy, huge, muscular guy. Somebody you wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley at night, I'll tell you right now, very intimidating looking man. I saw his face go from a profound sadness to literally illumined, his eyes and his face. I said, yeah, I have gained myself. I saw the realization come upon him that he had gained himself. I've lost everything, but I have gained myself. And I said, behold, a true man is born before my very eyes. And I went over and I hugged him, I squeezed him, I said, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, and when he left, he was literally floating. He still didn't have his house, he didn't have his wife, he didn't have his children. That loss was still there. But what he was telling himself about it now, his perspective of it was transformed. And he left here. He went to the front desk and said, you know, I've lost everything, but I have gained myself. And he was transformed. I saw that myself. I saw with my eyes right before me the man going from a profound sadness, understandably so, to being illuminated with transcendence. He was able to tell himself the best true story about his worst problem. He didn't regain his wife, his children, or his house. But he achieved a legacy and honor in terms of how he perceived it and how he talks to himself about it and how he talks to others about it. I know you see the application to yourselves for what you're going through, our dear brothers and sisters in Texas. I know you do. I had a woman come to see me, lovely young lady, maybe about 40 years old, lovely, weeping. I mean, really weeping. In her case, the tears were coming down. It wasn't like I just sensed it in her face. Said, Dr. Nerenberg, they shot my son 9 times. My son's in stable condition. He's in the hospital. He's been shot 9 times. We think it's gang related, but we don't know. He's shot 9 times. And I said, oh my God. I said, I have 7 children. I said, that's a parent's nightmare. That's a parent's nightmare to think of your child being shot. Any of us children say, my God, your child was shot. Just shot once, much less 9 times. It's a nightmare for a parent. I see as a human being and as a father, as a parent, I feel so much compassion for what's happened to your son. I really do. I sincerely feel so much compassion for you. And as a psychologist of doing this 45 years, I really understand the psychodynamics of your suffering. I understand. But what if I told you that there's a true story you can tell yourself about this that would add dignity, nobility, destiny, and legacy and honor to your life and to your son's life? Add a legacy, honor to your life. So it would have meaning. It's not just senseless act. It would have more meaning. He says, Dr. Nerenberg, I'd be so grateful if you could do that for me. Can you really do that? And I said, yes, I can. I said, listen closely when I say this to you. Are you listening? I said, I want you to be totally with every word I say to you right now. Are you ready? She said, yes, I am ready. Are you ready for the cure? Yes, I am. Okay, I'm going to give you the cure. I'm going to give you the healing right now. In her face, you could see how sad as any parent would be, any normal parent would be. I say, it's this. I knew she was a believer in God. I already knew that from talking to her. I said, they couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. And I saw her face, same as I saw with that young man. I saw her totally see that, totally believe that, totally get into the reality of it. And I saw the same thing happen to her face And I saw a light and a luminosity come from her face, from her cheeks, from her eyes. And the full beauty of her face coming in as she just radiated some transcendence. I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. Call it a miracle, call it whatever you want to call it, but it's a true fact. I saw it happen before my eyes. And she said, yes, God does have a purpose for his life. I see that. And so I said, I want you to repeat that to yourself. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. And she repeated, they couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. And she would repeat that. And I said, keep repeating that every hour to yourself. That's a reality. And tell your son what I said. She said, I will do that, Dr. Nerenberg. I'm serious. She walked out literally floating out of my office, just radiant. Walked out. Anybody knows what it means. Your child is laying shot in the hospital, critical condition. Walked out joyous. Her son was still laying in the hospital. Her son had still been shot 9 times. That happened. A mother, a devoted, loving mother, walked out radiant with some kind of serenity and joy on her face. Talking to a mother who would die without hesitation for her son, without hesitation, walking out radiant. Then she came to my class here a week later. She was still beaming when she saw me. Same smile, same beautiful smile. And I said, did you tell your son what I told you to tell him? She said, yes, I did, Dr. Nerenberg. What was his response? She said, honestly, he laughed. Good. Now, it's clear why I'm telling you the effect. This is the secret of telling yourself the best true story about your worst problem. What facilitates being able to do that? There are certain thoughts that I'm going to give you that will allow you to tell yourself very rapidly about the enormous gain that you've gone through from what's happened. And I know many of you already know what the gain is. I mean, the loss is huge. And we feel for you. We do. The whole nation, the world, we mourn for you. But I know how powerful our Texas brothers and sisters are. And I know you're already seeing the gain. You're a tough people. And you're bringing honor to the world by how you're dealing with it, how you're helping one another. That's honorable. In a world lacking in honor, you've uplifted the world through how you're dealing with this. Without the crisis, we would not have seen how this happened. I'm going to give you the 4 commandments of honor, the 4 self-commandments of honor. Now, certainly, I've applied this to myself. By the way, the 4th commandment of honor is I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. An alternate way to say that is hardship makes me strong and I'm grateful. Hardship makes me strong and I'm grateful. That's an alternate to I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship, which is the 4th commandment of honor. Texas has some strong boys, lift a lot of weights. We know that. And what do weightlifters do? We bring the hardship to ourselves. We actually go seek out the hardship. We don't even wait for it to come to us. I'm a world champion powerlifter. I'm a world champion bodybuilder. Set numerous world records on various lifts. Drug-free. Why do we do that? We actually cause injuries to ourselves. We're causing muscle tears. We actually tear down our bodies doing this, and we know that. We cause these injuries. Why? Because we know we're going to come back bigger and stronger than ever. That through rest and proper nutrition, we're going to come back stronger and bigger. That's the prototype. Hardship makes me strong, and I'm grateful. That's the 4th commandment. Let me go over the full 4 commandments of honor, and I'm going to invite you to use these to become a disciple of honor. Whatever religion you are, or whatever religion you're not, doesn't matter. You're going to benefit from these thoughts. Now, the first one is, God, your wish is my only wish. God, your wish is my only wish. Now, if somebody doesn't want to address God, it's I seek always to serve my highest values. Or you can use I choose honor above all else. God, your wish is my only wish. Or I seek to serve my highest values always. Or I choose honor above all else. That's the first commandment. Now, I know something about my Texas brothers and sisters. I went to the University of Texas in Austin. I've lived amongst you. I love it. I loved Austin. Just loved it. And I encountered the spirit of Texas when I was there for those years, from 1966 to 69. Beautiful. I understand Texas. I lived amongst you. Now, I know many of you are believers in God. I know that. So now we go to two laws of honor and a corollary. The two laws go like this. God, if you wish me to gain great abundance, then I wish to gain great abundance. And here's the catch, it is this one. God, if you wish me to lose everything, then I wish to lose everything. God, if you wish me to have great abundance, then I wish for great abundance. God, if you wish me to lose everything, then I wish to lose everything. There's a little catchphrase, a little way out of this too. God, if you have no preference, then I prefer great abundance. Yeah, if you have no preference, I mean, God has no preference when I go my hand this way or that way. He doesn't have a preference over every little thing. If you have no preference, I prefer great abundance. So for those of you who seek to put God first, if he wishes for you to lose everything, then you wish to lose everything because you have no wish outside of God's wish. Now, for those who don't believe in God, you say, I choose honor above all else. I seek always to serve my highest values. Our beautiful brothers and sisters in Texas are living their highest values. You're helping one another. You're not abandoning one another in times of need. You're feeding one another. You're rescuing one another. You're looking after one another. This is beautiful. Then the second commandment is, I wish you well. The third is, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. And the fourth is, I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship, or the alternative way is, hardship makes me strong, and I'm grateful. 11 years ago, it was suspicious that I had a prostate cancer. So I went to the urologist. They took a biopsy. I was on my Goldwing motorcycle. Went on 605 down to South Street. Went to see him. Went to his office to find out the results of the biopsy. Pull up, get off my motorcycle. Go upstairs, sitting in the lobby, wondering how to test out. And I come into his office. I wait for him to come in with the papers. He sits down and he said, you've got prostate cancer. And it's not a little bit, it's an intermediate amount, and it's somewhat aggressive. It's a Gleason of 7. Well, my first reaction, my face went numb. But I was already well-versed in hardship makes me strong and I'm grateful. I already had that in me. My face went numb, being honest with you. It wasn't like, oh, that's, my face went numb for a minute. Then I looked him in the eyes and I said, Doc, that's great. And he said, what? I said, yeah. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger. Spiritually, emotionally, and physically. He said, what? He said, I couldn't, it's like I knew his hearing was it, but he couldn't believe what I'm saying to him. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And I kept repeating that. And let me tell you something. It was a joyous period. I noticed the winds, the birds, the trees, the sky. It was so exquisitely beautiful to me. It was beautiful. And when I went in to get a prostatectomy to cut my prostate, I showed so much love to everybody. I was joking with them. And I meet people, the veil lifted. I felt so much love for everybody. Strangers, didn't matter if I knew you or not. I felt that love. It was a beautiful period. And that so made me stronger that way. And I took the title at 65 years of age with that prostate cancer. I took the title strongest man in the world, drug-free man in the world for my age and my weight. Strongest drug-free man in the world for my age and weight when I had the prostate cancer. So at 65 years of age, I bench press drug-free, no wraps, no scraps, no bench press for 365 for a 65-year-old man. That was a world record. 3 months later, I was still training. I was wearing a diaper. I was incontinent. I flew out to New Jersey wearing a diaper, the only athlete to ever weigh and wearing a diaper. We all had a good laugh. I said, yeah, I just had a prostatectomy. We laughed. The next day, I set a world record and flew back to California. Hardship makes me strong, and I'm grateful. I've been cancer-free ever since. When I was 71, I set a world record hanging 140 pounds from a chain belt and did a pull-up. Done many feats of strength since. So I walked the walk with this. I'm sharing this with you because I know you're facing enormous loss. I want to be able to transform that loss into gain. Let me tell you something about losing a house. Let me tell you the truth about the stress. Oh my God, I've lost my house. And somebody will say, that causes enormous stress. I've lost my house. What happened? The whole universe is, I see the nature of this life. I've lost my house. God forbid people lose their houses. And they think that's causing the stress. It's not what's causing the stress. Losing the house, I'm here to tell you, is not really the cause of your stress. Not a good situation. I certainly don't wish it on you or anybody. But it's not the cause. What you're seeing, the destruction of the home, is not the cause of stress. What's causing your stress is what you're not seeing. What's causing the stress is what you're not seeing. What are you not seeing? I have this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, this eye, and it goes, my kids are in good health, I'm alive, I survived, my kids are alive, my parents are alive, whatever. It's what we're not seeing that's causing the stress. It's the loss of perspective that causes stress. I discovered in my 45 years the cause of all stress is loss of perspective. So when you're repeating these 4 commandments 3 times a day, it maintains the greatest perspective. It strengthens your psychological immune system. It strengthens your psychological immune system so that other things that will stress you out won't affect you or affect you minimally. So now I give you the opportunity, my brothers and sisters, to take a pledge to be disciple of honor where you're going to repeat these 4 commandments 3 times a day for the rest of your life. God, your wish is my only wish. Seek always to serve my highest values, or I choose honor above all else. The first commandment, which one of those? I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality, my problems, and I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. I'm going to ask you, watching this, to raise your hands. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself for all the days of my life to the 4 commandments of honor, and I'll teach them to those I love. I will repeat them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and I will listen to myself recite them. Welcome, my brothers and sisters, disciples of honor, men of honor, women of honor. This is my gift to you. This simple gift, which took me 45 years to uncover. You already believe in the principles. You're just committing yourself to what you already know. These are really not just commandments, they're self-commandments because they already were within you. I didn't tell you anything that you don't already believe. So it's been my privilege to have this opportunity to offer you this. Truly, I want you to benefit. Truly. Thank you so much. And bravo to you for what you've given all of us. Thank you for what you've given us. You've showed us the way. Thank you.